At Strabane, the river sheds its embryo status, completing the 40-mile journey to the North Atlantic as the majestic River Foyle. By the time it flows through Derry, the Foyle has become a very big river, a quarter-mile wide where it passes under Craigavon Bridge. Where the river flows through the city, the old wooden wharfs, cattle pens, cranes and storage sheds have disappeared. No teams of dockers now work to load and unload the many cargo ships for which Derry used to be a regular port of call. Where there was once the noise and bustle of a busy dockland, there is now an embankment-style riverside footpath which follows the curve of the river around the city and past Craigavon Bridge to run for several miles beside the old railway cutting south of the bridge. For much of its length, the River Walk runs side by side with the commercial centre of Derry, which in a recent nationwide survey was placed in the top 10 most attractive places to live in the UK. Within easy reach of the River Walk, the proliferation of restaurants, cafes and sandwich bars, many of them open from morning to midnight, is an indication of the increasing level of prosperity which the city now enjoys. In the mid-19th century, the Foyle was a major conduit through which hundreds of thousands of immigrants were funneled, mainly to America, to escape from the ravages of the famine. This small, insignificant plaque is all that commemorates the greatest catastrophe ever to be visited upon the people of Ireland. No other event in the country's tragic history can compare with the appalling consequences of the potato famine, which from 1845 to 1850 decimated the population by 2.5 million, a million of whom died of starvation, and 1.5 million who were forced into exile by the unbearable epidemic of hunger and death. For 5 long, tormented and pitiful years, the world turned its back on the suffering people of Ireland. No Live Aid songs were sung, no worldwide collections were organised, no battalions of press photographers descended upon the devastated landscape. where in a land of plenty, thousands of pathetic victims were dying daily of hunger. Those few who did come were appalled to see corpses rotting by the roadsides or being buried without even the dignity of a coffin. An interesting perspective on the famine disaster emerges from a comparison with some other historic catastrophes. 580,000 soldiers were killed in the 5-year American Civil War. 480,000 British and Commonwealth soldiers lost their lives in the 5-year conflict of World War II. And 1 million Irish people died of hunger in the 5 years of the famine. It was from this exact spot that our exiles waved goodbye forever to their grieving families and to the land that is so dear to every Irish heart. Because of the famine, there exists today in America a large and influential section of the population which has its roots in the old country. And because of the famine, there are many people on both sides of the Atlantic unknowingly related by common ancestors who left this place for the New World 1.5 centuries ago. Large numbers of tourists, many of them American, come to Derry every year. What is it that brings them here, to this inaccessible outpost of Europe? Is it wanderlust, or simply the curiosity of the traveller? Or could it be a subconscious desire to complete the return half of an outward journey made by a long forgotten relative from this place 160 years ago? Viewed from the river, Derry's economic development is emphasised by the recent construction of commercial premises along much of the waterfront, their modern architecture contrasting strangely with the enduring hills and spires of the age-old city. Not all of Derry's history is ancient, of course. During the Second World War, the port was the most important strategic naval base in the North Atlantic for the Allied forces in Europe. The geographic location of the River Foyle placed it directly in the path of the endless convoys which sailed from America to Britain throughout the duration of the war.